everyone, it's Blair McInnis with Pemberton Holmes, revic.ca. Just standing outside in the parking lot of my office. You might be able to see in the background over there. So market shift, what does that mean for you as a buyer or as a seller? Or both? Alright, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about property assessments, which is something that comes up many times throughout the year. Basically, I really think that they should just be renamed and call it a property tax assessment, because as our market right now has shifted to more of a, let's say maybe a flat market or balanced market, you know, it's shifted into a sort of a buyer's territory, and what happens is you have an assessment that is so out of whack in comparison to what, you know, a real fair market value potentially could be with a property. Anyway, one little clip here. I'm going to move on. I have a whole bunch of running around to do, so I'm going to leave it here for the moment. It's a beautiful sunny day. I'm just going to walk back over to my car here, and I have one appointment that I have to get to pretty quick, so I'll see you in a little while. Okay, back at it here. I have a little bit of time, so I'm just going to stand here while I shoot this little bit. So we've talked about property assessments and how inaccurate they really are when it comes down to determining fair market value of a property. So having said that, then what is the most appropriate way to gauge value of a property at any given time, you know, no matter whatever kind of market we're in? So basically what we do all the time is we look at comps. We look at what's on market, comparable. We look at what things have sold for recently. If some listings have been on market that were priced too high and have been, you know, canceled or pulled off market, all of those sorts of things. That's really the best way to go about it, is to pull comparable properties in real time, so that you're all completely up to date to what your competition is out there in the market, and then go from there. And that's a very good way to gauge price. So there's your answer. Let's just talk property segments for a moment. What's hot in Victoria right now? Well, anything entry level, anything that is 250, 275 condo wise upwards to say 400, 450, 500,000. That's where the affordability is right now, unfortunately, because of all the different stringent regulations and stress tests with mortgages and lenders and all of that. I could blab on about it, but I think you probably already know. So that's the main reason for that. What else could be considered hot? Still very much so is your single family detached in the core areas that are in sort of the 750 price range, maybe upwards to 800,000, with suite additional accommodation or potential thereof. Still a pretty competitive segment in the market right now. If you're priced well, if you have all of those things in your property and you're on market and selling, you're in a good spot, because you'll have some competition with that amongst buyers. What would be considered a lagging segment in the market right now? Well, pretty much anything that's above the 850, 900 into, you know, million plus, let's say 1.5. Luxury condos and luxury SFD, single family detached. Anything that's kind of in that higher price point. I wouldn't say that we're saturated necessarily with listings, but there's definitely a lot of competition, and days on market way longer compared to say a few years ago. So that's probably the lagging segment at this moment in time. Alright, so just to cap off today's video, just as I walk back to my car down here, so what do I feel is next with the market? Well, recently the feds have pumped the brakes on interest rate hike for the time being. We're in May now, 2019, as you probably know. So that doesn't look like there's going to be any increase in the near future. If it stays that way for the rest of the year, I think we'll probably end up being in the same sort of state market-wise. However, we did see quite an increase in listings on market last month for April 2019. I think it was 2,700, just over 2,700 listings on market available for purchase. That has not happened for a very long time. I'd say probably 3 to 4 years ago we were, I think, 4,200 when there was a lot of listings on the market 5-6 years ago, 4,500 listings. We just haven't seen that level of inventory, and that is actually a positive thing because there's more selection out there, and we'll see if that continues. I think there's a number of reasons why people are, putting properties on the market. Obviously, there's tons of reasons, circumstances. It's always different. It just depends on, just depends. It just depends. So for the rest of the year, what are we going to see? Balanced, flat, buyer's market, perhaps. It's kind of a good thing. Interest rates not going up. Overall, though, does that really solve the supply issue that we have here? Not so much, really. I think it's going to take a lot more development for things to really become more affordable, and that's not going to happen quickly either. So anyway, yeah, I think a couple things, some advice that I would give people right now would be, because of the interest rates sort of being held where they are, if you are about, ready to get into the market, lock in some rates, get something pre-approved in writing. Why not? It doesn't mean that you have to go out there and buy something, but get yourself in that situation so that you get a reasonable deal moving forward. And as far as things go for being a buyer in this market, you're probably feeling a lot better about it, simply because you don't really have too many of those high pressure multiple offer scenarios like we've been experiencing for the last couple of years, and that's a good thing. Anyway, I'll leave it here for today. It's Blair McInnis of Pemberton Holmes, revic.ca. I hope the handheld rig that I have here is working. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.